This impacts our memory, focus, and recall, making it harder to keep your flow intact. Welcome to the Voice Room Podcast, Asia's one and only podcast dedicated to the power of voice, speech, and presence. Whether you are tuning in from Singapore or anywhere else in the world, we are honored to have you here. Hey there, and welcome back to the Voice Room Podcast. I'm your host, Karina Tien. And if you are here, it means you are ready to dive into the art of communication, self-expression, and mastering your voice. In today's episode, we are going to tackle something we have all experienced at one point or another. That is the dreaded moment when you forget your presentation flow. You are in front of your audience, ready to share amazing stories, and then, booms, your mind goes blank. It is not just about bouncing back from that moment, though. It's about understanding why it happens and how to handle it when it does. Spoiler alert, even the pros deal with this. So let's dive right in. First off, let's get real. Do you know that, according to a study from the National Communication Association, about 75% of the people feel nervous before speaking in public? And even more interesting, around 70% of those people experience a memory lapse during their presentations. That's a big number. And guess what? It's actually totally normal. Why does this happen? Well, when we are nervous, our brains go into a fight or flight mode, and that causes our cortisol levels to spike. Keep your flow intact. So, if you forget your words in the middle of a presentation, it is not because you didn't prepare. It is because your body is reacting to stress. You have probably heard the usual tips for when your flow slips. Take a deep breath, pause, retrace your steps. All good advice, but here's the twist. Those techniques are reactive. What if you could actually avoid the panic before it even hits? Yay! What if you could prevent the memory lapse before it happens? Here is what I will propose. Let's focus on building memory resilience instead of just recovering after a slip-up. It is not about memorizing every single word. That can make you feel boxed in and stressed. Instead, think of your presentation like a story, with key points or milestones that guide you from start to finish. You don't need to remember every single word, just the main points. This way, even if you lose your place, you can stay grounded in the message. Again, take Steve Jobs, for example. He often spoke without notes or scripts, but he had the key ideas down and was flexible in how to deliver them. He wasn't rigid, and that's what made his presentation feel so natural. You don't need to go full Steve Jobs level, but creating a mental map with clear milestones will help you stay on track, even if your memory falters. Now I am going to show you some exercises to help you strengthen your memory and keep you calm under pressure. Exercise number 1. the mind palace technique. This technique is an old school memory trick. Picture a familiar place like your home or office and link different parts of your presentation to different rooms or landmarks. As you mentally walk through your space, each room represents a section of your talk or presentation. When you lose your place, just walk through the mental palace and pick up where you left off. Here is exercise number 2. Rehearse out loud, but change the order. Most people rehearse their presentations in a strict order, but try shaking things up. Start from the middle, jump to the end, and then go back to the beginning. This helps your brain to stay flexible, so you are not thrown off if you forget the order during the actual presentation. Here is exercise number 3. Use the chunking method. Break your presentations into smaller chunks, short segments with specific points. When you master the transition from one chunk to the next, you will feel much more in control, even if your flow gets interrupted. Here is a little bit of a curveball. What if we embrace the fact that forgetting your flow isn't the end of the world? In a world that celebrates perfection, it's hard to imagine that making mistakes might actually make you more relatable and authentic. When you show vulnerability, like pausing to recover your jokes, your audience will connect with you on a human level. Remember, audiences love authenticity. Perfection can make you seem distant or robotic. But vulnerability, that's what creates real connections. There's a famous quote by Brené Brown, who talks a lot about vulnerability and courage. She says, courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen. So, what if the courage to continue after losing your flow is actually what makes you more relatable to your audience? So to wrap up, if you forget your presentation flow, it is not a disaster. It's an opportunity to reset, recalibrate, and show your audience your authentic self. It happens to everyone, and with the right mindset, preparation, and techniques, you can turn that moment into strength. I would love to hear from you. What's your strategy when you lose your flow? Do you have any memory hacks that help you stay on track? Let me know on social media, or feel free to DM me on Instagram at The Voice Room. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if today's episode helped you, don't forget to subscribe to The Voice Room podcast. Share it with your friends and leave me a comment or review. I would also love for you to follow along on Instagram at The Voice Room for more tips and behind the scenes content. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, keep your voice strong, your mind clear, and your flow steady.